Hola, chicas. Okay, so I'm trying to record. Yeah, it's recording my podcast. And I was out having my walk down by the ocean. And I thought, hey, this is the perfect spot to record my podcast. So now I just found this quiet little park. And my camera is stuck in a tree. So it's not ideal, but hey, it works. The reason, no, not the reason. What I want to talk about today is all about kind of what I'm experiencing as I travel. And it comes in the form of reinventing yourself. Because I really feel like when we are in our younger years, who we are is dictated and created mostly because we don't know anything, but so it's mostly created by the people we hang out with the most, which is our families and school, and then whatever else you do, like whatever your community is. And that's not indicative of who we are, but it is their past. And so it 9 times out of 10, it's not who we truly are, but we just grow up thinking that's what we should be doing or who we should be becoming or what we should be saying or the job we should have or the person we should be with, all of these kinds of things. But when you're traveling solo, and I really like traveling solo, I don't know why, I just really, really like it. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around why I like it so much. And one of the reasons is because it's really spontaneous. I can just do whatever I want when I want. But also, the biggest thing is whenever I travel solo, I get to reinvent myself. Like I was walking down the main street in Malaga, and it's full of tourists because there's huge cruise ships that come in, and then 5,000 people jump off the ship and walk in the areas and see all the things. And so there's always a ton of cruise ship tourists. And I'm walking by myself, and most of the time you'll see people are together and in groups. And sometimes it would bother me, but it was very rare. And then I realized why it would bother me sometimes. It's because the times that it bothers me, I'm thinking that I'm solo on my own and that's a problem. But in fact, like nobody knows me. There's 99.9% chance that I'm not going to run into anybody I know from my other life. I meet people here, so I might run into them, but I'm pretty sure that there's no chance that I'm going to run into somebody that I know from back home. So nobody here knows me. Nobody knows where I'm going, what I'm doing. The only thing that makes me feel alone or lonely, or that it's not okay to be by myself, are my thoughts. That's it. And then every time you go somewhere or do something, you get the opportunity to reinvent yourself. Actually, every day when you wake up, you get the opportunity to reinvent yourself. It's harder to do when you're at home because you're surrounded by all those things that created you or all the things that are familiar to you. But when you are on your own in a foreign country, it's so much easier because I get to decide in that day, how do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? And I could try things out. Like, I've always wanted to be, more whatever it is. And then I wake up that day and I try it on. And I'm like, that worked for me. I'm gonna incorporate that into who I am, into my being. Or, oh man, that was horrible. Or I could take parts of myself that I've never really liked about me and change it a little bit. Now, having said that, as I'm saying that, I can hear myself saying, take the parts that you don't love about yourself and change them. The key to having a happy life is loving yourself exactly as you are. So I think the steps would be like, love those parts of yourself, learn to love those parts of yourself that you've deemed unlovable for some reason. Whew, my phone might fall. So learn how to love those parts first, and then get rid of them and create something new. So I feel like you never want to be running away from something. You want to recognize it and own it. So if there's a part of myself, like say I'm bossy, I don't like that. I don't want to be controlling. So instead of just not being controlling, I want to see how controlling serves me. How does it serve me to be controlling sometimes? Like when you're trying to get something done and it's a deadline and it's really important. Sometimes just organizing those things and staying on top of them can be helpful. So if I can see the value in that and then love that part of me, then I can decide if I want to let that go or not, or turn that into something else. But the key to really being at peace with who you are and loving all of yourself is loving the parts of yourself that you've deemed unlovable. And the interesting thing is it could just be like one moment in time when somebody said something or something happened and you're just like, oh, it's bad to be this. And from that moment on, you didn't like that part of yourself because you thought it was bad, which is fascinating. This is a really good way to understand why you are the way you are. But what I want to encourage today is that you don't have to jump on a plane or pack a suitcase to do this. You can do this anytime, any day. You just decide that today's the day that you're going to do it, and you start to create the version of yourself that you want to be. So you have a vision in your head of how you'd like to be, and then every day you just start to be that person. Even before you've become that person, you act like that person, you feel like that person, you do what that person would do. And you become that person before you've even become that person. Just really feel what it feels like, because everything is energy. And when you're in the energy of that person, you're going to draw that towards you even quicker. And I think one of the really important things to realize is that there is no right or wrong. There are no rules to who you should be and how you should show up. All this shit is made up. 100% of it is made up. The only thing that's certain in life is uncertainty. And when you can embrace the uncertainty of who you are, of what's happening next, of like when I book a Airbnb, I'm like, what if it's the wrong one? It takes me forever because I have this fear of making a mistake. But if I realize that no matter what Airbnb I choose, I'm going to make it the right Airbnb for me. For example, the one that I'm in now, like I went to see a couple, and there's this fast pace because they go so quickly, because there's not they go so fast, so you got to be like on it to get something. And so I chose this one, and at the moment it felt really great. And then when I'm in there, I'm like, damn, I don't know if this is the best choice. So when I second guess my choice, first of all, it makes it harder for me to make the choice, and then secondly, I'm going to have a bad experience. So there's things about this Airbnb that I'm like, yeah, this shouldn't have been my first choice, which would make me feel horrible. So instead I'm like, how can I turn this into a positive and see all the amazing things about this, and then I'm going to have the best experience possible. And the key about all of this is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. All the rules are made up. Like, who decided all of these rules? They just have been there and we've never questioned them. So I want to offer to you, if you want to really reinvent yourself or live your best life, just forget all the rules. There is no right or wrong. You can do whatever you want, and let go of the labels that you've created for yourself. Let go of who you think your parents want you to be, or who you've been as a mother. Just let go of all of that and ask yourself, if I could be anybody, if I could do anything, how would I show up in the world? Who would I be? And then start doing that. And then try it on and be like, yeah, I love that. I'm going to do more of that. You can instantly change your whole entire life and who you are in this moment if you decide to do it. All you have to do is put your energy towards that. And that's what I was thinking when I was walking down this crowded street full of people and I was by myself. I had this moment of like, oh, I'm alone. And it made me feel sad for a moment. And then I realized that it was the thought that being alone is bad that made me sad, because I consciously chose to come here alone. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm just a mystery person figuring it all out and reinventing myself. And nobody knows if I work at that store or live here, I'm on my lunch break, or my family's here. Like, nobody knows that. So the only thing that makes it a lonely experience is my thought. Because I go out and I meet people, I go to language exchanges, I play tennis, I go to the gym, go on Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. That's a great way to meet other people. And so on the days when I feel like I want to meet other people, I go and do all those things. And then some days I just don't want to meet people. Some days I want to wander around the streets by myself. That's just what I feel like. And so I do that. And the reason I wanted to really, let me check the time here. Okay. Put my tripod, my camera back in the tree. You can see it. There's the tree right here. It's just stuck in there. People are looking at me as they walk by. But I don't care. Like, that's the thing, is they're just creating what they want in their head. And I'm like, this is amazing. That's the thought in my head. And as I look up, I'm standing underneath an orange tree. It is so beautiful. Let me show it to you before. I'm going to show you where I'm. So this here, you can see all the oranges up there. And then I have like the ocean over there. And this tree here is my tripod. I just stick it in there and off I go. Let me see if I can put it back. But as I was in the moment of discovering this, like, everything is just made up. I feel like if you want to live that happy life and be that person, you want to make sure that you just like create your own rules as you go. You reinvent yourself in this moment. And if there's some hesitation, or if you're thinking I should or shouldn't, stop and question, like, where is that coming from in your brain? Like, is that me? Is that my voice? Is that my mother's voice? Is that my teacher's voice? Like, where is this coming from? And the way you'll know is how you feel inside. Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel scared? Do you feel frustrated? Like, your feelings are feedback. And also your results are feedback. Your results never lie. So if you're loving your life and getting the results you want, then it's like, by all means, you know you're doing the right thing. But if by chance you're not getting the results you want, then you want to chase that down and find that in your thoughts. A lot of people make the mistake of changing their actions. When you change your action, you're still coming at it from a place of the same energy that created it in the first place. If your thought is like, I'm not enough, and then you think that feeling and you feel less than, you're going to take action from a place of feeling less than, and then you'll get results of not being enough. And if I just change the action and do different actions, it's still coming from the energy of less than, of not enough. And so you'll always get the same results. So that's one of the main mistakes that people make. So I want to invite you to change that energy first by changing your thought. And then once you change the energy from which you take the action, you will get different results 100%. So if you're in lack or less than or not enough, you'll always get that result. But if you're in potential, like, think about, oh my God, my potential is so huge, or possibility, or passion, or creativity. When you're in those energies, oh my God, your action is going to be so different. And those energies are way different, and that will get you the result that you're looking for. The passion, the possibility. Because what if anything was possible? Because it is. Because remember, this is all made up. Every single thing, every rule, every guideline, it's all made up. And the second you understand that and believe that and know that you have the power to change it all in your mind with your thoughts, game changer. So I get so passionate about this, because when people come and coach with me, they're just like, tell me what to do, tell me what to do. And I used to be like that. I would hire somebody who was like really good at doing what I wanted to do, like they were super successful at it. So I would hire them, and then all I would do was say, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. But it doesn't work like that, because then I'm just doing their thing. But if I understand the way my brain works, and that's where the answer is, that is taking your power back. That means anything is possible. That is like the ultimate freedom, which is knowing that it's all in your hands. You don't need anybody else to confirm or to tell you or to any of it. You can do all of it by doing your work in your mind. And that's why I find so much freedom in traveling the way I travel. It's so liberating, because I get to reinvent myself. And I notice that when I go home, as soon as I go home, God, it's so easy just to slip back into that. But I got to catch myself and do my work, because that's not what I want. Because if I wanted that, I would just keep that and be that. But because I travel and I'm always curious and I'm like, what's possible? Who am I? All the things. I want to be really mindful and do the work, which means I want to be watching my brain all the time. I want to be looking at what I'm doing. If I slide back into my old ways, which is what my brain wants to do, because our brain is focused on three things: avoid pain, seek pleasure, and conserve energy. And so what's the easiest way to avoid pain and conserve energy? Just do what you know, so you don't have to think about it. Just always do the same thing. And then once you challenge that, now your brain freaks out. And that's why it's so hard, is because your brain is like telling your subconscious, you could die, don't do this, this is very dangerous. Because your brain is like just trying to keep you alive. So that's why a lot of the time it's really hard to make these changes, because you're fighting your brain. But that's when you want to catch your brain and be like, okay, brain, I see you. No, we're okay. We're just going to do this and we're going to be okay. Trying something new. There's always going to be resistance. And what if you fail? That's great, because if you fail, that means you're learning and growing. The only time you ever fail is if you give up on yourself. That's the only time. And so the summary of this podcast is, you can be, do, or create anything you want in your life. Even if you've had, like for me, I've had 55 years of my life looking like this, but I want to change all of it. It's not a problem. It's totally doable for you. All you have to do is do your work. Notice your brain. And the freedom is there to reinvent yourself every single day. Every single day. And I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk, because you're going to be fighting your own brain on this one, because it just wants you to survive. But if you're brave enough to take this challenge, then anything is possible for you, and you're going to create a midlife that you absolutely love. We're in midlife. That means we're halfway through, if we're lucky. We don't know. Today could be the day. Tomorrow could be the day. So we want to make sure that when our time comes, we have zero regrets. And that means create whatever the hell you want, but be all in and know that it's all up to you. There's no outside force that you need to consult with or to be on your side. This is an inside job. And as soon as you really own that, then boom, you are going to create absolute magic for yourself. Okay, thank you for listening. I'm going to go out on the walkway. There's this guy who walks up and down all day, every day. And he's got a cane and like a huge limp, and he's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And he just walks up and down every day, wears the same clothes, and he says, hola, gracias, and he's looking for money, but he's super friendly. He talks to everybody, and he just says hi and thank you, whether they acknowledge him, whether they give him money or nothing. So I wanted to go and find out actually what his name is, and give him some money, because he's here all day, every day. He works so hard. So I just want to go find out about him, and I see him now. So I'm going to go head over there and say hi to him and give him $1 and see what he's all about. All right. Always, always, always love yourself first, and have an amazing day.